Good morning and welcome to the dialogue this morning. It is time to look at the big events in the week, and the panel is ready to take you through those big events. My name is Prince Apollo. Welcome to the show. It's been a week of celebrations, but also a stressful period for parents as it's time to take back kids to school. Well, you will be also invited to take part in the discussions. Send in your comments and observations on the issues we will be discussing. Welcome aboard the policy researcher and lecturer at Uganda Management Institute. Dr. Gerard Wanzala is in the studio, but we also have Richard Baguma Tinkasimire, a communication expert. We are privileged also to have the Deputy Lord Mayor for Kampala Capital City, Honorable Doreen Nyanjula, in the studios, looking at 80 years of President Museveni. He celebrated the 80th birthday. A public Thanksgiving event was held in Nakaseke district, where multitudes gathered to thank God for the 80 years of President Museveni. We'll be looking behind the 80th birthday for President Museveni and the criticism around his fitness to continue to lead Uganda as the matter came to Parliament and members of Parliament did not allow debate on whether President Museveni should be subjected to fitness tests, as it is the norm in the US and other developed countries, where presidents are subjected to fitness on mental and physical abilities. We'll also be looking at the Kampala city, which continues to choke on garbage. I will immediately ask Dr. Gerard Wanzala to speak to you, the viewers, as we kick off this big show.
Good morning, our viewers. I'm happy as always to be here on Saturday, and of course I'm happy to see my sister on the right, the Deputy Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Who has disappeared for over a year without coming to the studio. We are happy to be with you.
Thank you.
And special greetings to my people in the United Republic of Chirinya. We love you so much. Thank you for keeping
That's
the
how the
program.
Omusinga started. And you know what happened to him?
Oh, thank you so much, Doctor. Richard, speak to our viewers before I introduce the Deputy Lord Mayor.
Yeah, of course. You can't. The small drum cannot sound before the big one. No, the small drum sounds before the big one. Yeah. So, for me, as always, it is first to God. Yeah. God has so much power, pervasive power, but also this unending grace and forgiveness. So we go sin, all of us, and then God forgives us, gives us the breath and the energy to come back. Also the opportunity to come to share with the viewers. Who are we? So I thank that one. I thank our viewers, the ones who patronize us, the ones who meet us and tell us. I was happy this morning that when I came in, I said to the Deputy Lord Mayor that I've spent time without seeing. She said, "No, me, I see you on TV." So
Yes.
she's one of the viewers. So it's very nice. And Apollo to you, and of course the Deputy Lord Mayor. Thanks. It's nice to see you. I haven't seen you after Chitezi, so I think we'll have private conversations. And the ever-present Dr. Wirihe of the United Republic
Of Chirinya. Hope you carried the cake from those high authorities for us here.
No, because you see, there is no higher authority than God. And God is present here. So I don't have to carry anything. The things are here. There is abundance in this studio.
Welcome back from
You just pan the camera and you show them. There is abundance in the studio.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
The Deputy Lord Mayor speak to our viewers. What I did not tell them is that you also subscribe to the FDC Katonga faction, which is still struggling for identity.
Is there something like Katonga faction?
It should just be registered as Katonga.
Well, thank you so much, Apollo, and thank you so much, Doctor, and my good friend here, the expert, super brain, Mr. Waguma. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be back on Soul TV. It's been a while, but in my absence, these two colleagues have really
held fort.
Yes, they have held fort, and they have kept this program going, and they have kept the viewers hooked on Salt TV. So we don't take that for granted.
Sure.
Thank you so much for keeping this program going. Thank you so much for talking on behalf of so many Ugandans. And yes, I'm back.
Thank you so much, and congratulations. We have a baby girl.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I was still enjoying maternity leave, you know, the process of giving birth, getting pregnant. It's also not an easy one. But yes, we are back because the struggle must continue by all means.
Especially for that baby. We are working for that baby.
Straight away, Deputy Lord Mayor, I am sure when people see you, they have questions about Kampala, the city that you are in charge of, the city that has suffered dilapidation for a while, bad roads, and now we have a problem of garbage. You can't believe it. After a whole month, following the death of 30, which I actually think it's more than 35 people in Chitezi landfill tragedy, the people of Kampala still suffer with garbage. There's a path I follow coming to the studio here. People started dumping garbage on the roadside the moment Chitezi was decommissioned for as a landfill for Kampala. But until today, the garbage is still there along Kasubi Road, Kasubi connecting Kasubi and Rubia. How can we live in a city? What is the problem? Why can't you settle this once and for all?
Well, thank you so much, Apollo, for that question. I should say, of course, as a leader, I'm equally not comfortable with the heaps of garbage that are currently piling everywhere. The city choking on garbage, like you rightly stated. However, this is not something that has just started now. Even before the Chitezi catastrophe, as a city, we used to generate 2,500 tons of garbage. That's what we still generate anyway. But I would only be in position to collect 56% of that garbage generated, meaning the remaining percentage would stay in the public, with the people. And that was, we collect this garbage. KCCA has some trucks, and also the concessionaires, the private concessionaires that do the collection, but our efficiency level was only at 56%, which of course leaves a lot to be desired. And as the City Executive Committee presided over by the Lord Mayor together with Council, this has been an issue that has been top on our agenda, ensuring that we have a clean city, ensuring that we have a city really that doesn't look like a modern village, but a city that lives up to the standards of the 21st century. Now, viewers, like you know, we run the city on behalf of central government.
Yeah, true.
We are under the office of the president. Unfortunately, for a very long time, garbage collection has remained one of the unfunded priorities from central government. So then we had to see what is happening. But we had very nice proposals. I've seen people coming out and suggesting, you need to do this, turn garbage into wealth, you know, have a recycling plant, all these things we have. To actually prove to the viewers that we were also tired of this old practice, outdated of picking garbage and simply dumping in Chitezi. In 2015, we bought land with support from World Bank in Dundu Mukono, where we expected to have a recycling plant, a leachate treatment plant, all the things that you can think of that are modern. And we needed 190 billion for us to kickstart that project. Unfortunately, as we talk, even today, that has remained an unfunded priority. So I really know what is going on. I cannot say that I don't know what is going on. And of course, with the unfortunate incident of the Chitezi catastrophe, the situation has since worsened. And we didn't, for me, I call it a man-made disaster. Because honestly speaking, we all foresaw this catastrophe, the tragedy coming. And actually, at the beginning of this year, the Lord Mayor led a team of political leaders and went to Chitezi. And he said, you people, by all means, Chitezi has to be decommissioned. Because studies have been done. NEMA had said it 2015. There were these reports. And unfortunately, when he came to City Hall, the technical team told him, we do not have an alternative. Unfortunately, now the gods got annoyed, and we got what we had a catastrophe, and we were forced to look for an alternative, an excuse which was being provided last time. And we have been moving around ever since the catastrophe hit, trying to look for an alternative. The immediate alternative that we had was Dundu. Unfortunately, when we went there, the residents were up in arms. They said, no, you cannot dump your garbage in Dundu. This is a residential area. At the time this land was being purchased, the residents didn't even know that land was being purchased.
Was it being purchased?
Yes, so we moved around, then went to Katabi, and that were being led by the Lord Mayor, signed a memorandum of understanding. And they said, yes, now you have to work on our road, you have to do this in order for you to dump garbage here. And we're in total agreement with them. Unfortunately, the following day, the mayor of Entebbe municipality also was up in arms. Then we went to Memvu, and the mayor also said, no, you cannot come there. So it has been a battle. That we felt have an alternative, and this leaves a lot to be desired, because we have a minister, we have two ministers in charge of Kampala and the Metropolitan Affairs. Anyway, to cut the long story short, eventually we now dump our garbage in Katikolo. Now in Katikolo we're given a period of I think 1 month or 2 months, and it expired. But it has been renewed. Now regardless of all that, there are challenges that even when we go to dump garbage, sometimes you'll meet residents and they'll tell you, today you're not coming here. First work on our road. So there are lots of conditions attached to that. So as leaders in the city, we know we are confronted with this challenge. However, I think it goes beyond us at City Hall. Central government also needs to come in, because we even took it upon ourselves to submit to the Prime Minister our alternatives, what we think can be done in the alternative to make sure that we have some solutions. We even launched what we called the 10 days campaign, making sure that at least the central business district was clean. We moved away from our usual principle of eyes on, hands off. We decided to go on the ground. Unfortunately, that one was also cut short. And for me, I always tell people that Kampala is not an island. Kampala is this Uganda summarized, where you get all the problems in Uganda and you find them in Kampala. A few days into the campaigns, Total cut off fuel from KCCA because we had some outstanding date, and then we had to take a few days without garbage being collected, and well, eventually some money was paid. So we are honestly speaking in that katogo, in that mess. Then they said, what next can we do? We said, okay, there was a directive from the ministry, from cabinet. Can we now advertise and start the procurement process so that we have bidders and we purchase land where we can dump our garbage as the days in Katikolo that were given to us elapse. Now, the processes have been ongoing, and we had expected that the shortlist would come out on the 13th of September. Unfortunately, as we talk, there's nothing that has come out. And the Lord Mayor has written instructing that let that process be halted for now, because we hear a lot of dissatisfaction. We are hearing a lot of things that are not good really for the image of KCCA, because earlier on we had written to the director, executive director, demanding for a progress report in as far as the purchase of the new land was concerned. Probably people will say, isn't that bad? How can the Lord Mayor halt the purchase of the new dump site, even when we do not have an alternative? But friends, we know there is a tendency of some leaders, some people in this country, to hide behind emergencies, use it as an opportunity to steal money, use it as an opportunity to extort. I do not have
Do you have information
I
that,
do not,
that it is the case with?
That's why I'm saying we are hearing some voices. And that is why we have been demanding for a progress report. Unfortunately, up to now, we are not getting it. So what's the challenge?
So from you, Honorable Doreen, and the managers of the city, after the Chitezi tragedy, 35 or more people losing their lives, are you convinced that you have handled this issue to the best of your abilities and for the betterment of the city?
I think for me, on behalf of the policymakers, I would say that we have done our level best. And we have actually been calling for an investigation of those that slept on their job. And even when we met the Inspector General of the IGG, we submitted our evidence. For us, we believe the technical team at KCCA did not do their part, because studies were around, they saw the cracks even before this catastrophe happened, and they did not do what was required. But I have also said, when we visited that place, we said let Chitezi be decommissioned with immediate effect, because there was a catastrophe bound to happen. But also when we went to Chitezi, there was an annual allocation of 4.1 billion, 4.1 billion annually. They said it was for leveling that place. They said we needed bulldozers, we needed excavators. When we reached on the ground, we did not find anything. And therefore we asked, can these people be held liable, first of all, for that money which was being spent and they were not doing, no work was being done. But also, so we submitted that evidence to the IGG, and we had also made a demand to the officers from the office of the IGG that came to interview us, that can the people whom we think might be, whom we think are behind the unfortunate catastrophe, can they first step aside as per the public service standing orders to allow investigations take place? Right. Unfortunately, they were uncomfortable with that. And it's little wonder that you're now seeing the drama that you're seeing at City Hall in our council. The councillors are not interested in the councillors are not interested in the report. They are interested in an apology from the City Executive Committee. We believe it's because some of the people that are supposed to be investigated, because the recommendations that we have might see some people parking. So that's why you're seeing all the fights that you're currently seeing in council. So we are not going to take blanket accusations, and we wrote to the IGG on Thursday. We told her, Madam, can we have the report? What have your investigations found out? Those that are liable, can heads start rolling? And we are waiting to see what happens.
Thank you so much, Honorable Doreen Nyanjula, and to you, Dr. Jared Werewanzala. You've heard from the horse's mouth. We're still in a mess. It's still a mess. It's still confusion. There is no solution in sight, even after the death of people. Actually, we have, the last time we were here with the Honorable Doreen, we were talking about the dilapidated infrastructure in Kampala. I remember you giving us that knowledge of a dinosaur, a city run over by a dinosaur. But we cannot now talk about, we can no longer talk about roads now, because it has shifted to many other more serious issues like a health catastrophe looming. From what you've heard from the Lord Mayor, do you think this issue has been given the due attention it deserves?
I thank you, Apple. As a consumer of the services of KCCA and the services of the central government of Uganda, I want to say that I am disappointed, just like any other citizen who lives in this country or who lives within Kampala and the Kampala metropolitan area. I think I analyzed the politics of Uganda in two ways. One, that it is just predatory politics, where we think that when we are in positions of authority, we just think about control, but not putting in our minds that the taxpayer who foots the bill also has a claim on what they contribute to the running of government. Looking at the challenges of Kampala, they are actually broader than Kitezi. Kitezi, which we all agree was a man-made disaster, is just one of them. If you look at the politics around the modernization of transport in Kampala, it has been there for over 20 years. I remember when Lord Mayor Sebana Kizito was a mayor of Kampala, he proposed managing the borders at that time. But who defied it? It was the central government. And I remember the presidential advisor then, or assistant, Moses Vyaruhanga, was in charge of distributing borders. So eventually, a city which is supposed to be modern is now known as having the most dangerous mode of transport in the world. That you start at City Square and then you see thousands, hundreds of borders swarming. And if you look at statistics, that borders are killing 12 people every day in the country. So you look at the management of the sewage systems. If you look at Kampala and it's a metropolitan, you cannot talk about a sustainable city when you have only 30% or less connected to the sewage line. Everyone is digging their own septic tank and pulling out the feces when they get full there, the sewage. So that one cannot be a sustainable city. And then I have seen ministers talking about, private sector, we are talking the private sector. These things are expensive. They're expensive. Recently I got an opportunity where I was talking with an investor from Hong Kong. When they heard about these issues of Chitezi, they thought they can play role. But if you go and benchmark on major cities in the world, you will find that there's a partnership between the government, it is maybe the local government, the central government, and the private investor. She has just told you about how they wanted to turn the garbage into fertilizers, into recycling, and they needed 190 billion. Tell me of any Ugandan on their own who can pull out that money, when we know banks are almost pulling out of being banks because they need initial capital of 120 billion. But these are ventures where we need a partnership. We are seeing some cities neighboring us transforming, like Dar es Salaam. It took the intervention of the central government. So I think, and then the other issue that is very, very annoying is that you cannot lose 35 lives and others are unaccounted for, and business goes on as usual. There could have been a commission of inquiry. Well, there may be some people that they want to protect for some reasons, but it would be good that we discover the cause, and then we can use the report for future reference to solve the issues of Kampala. So for me, I think we need a reform. Richard last time talked about a governance crisis. That is a governance crisis because you say, because the opposition is taking all seats in the city, you say let's amend the law and have an elected, appointed executive director because you want to disempower the political wing of the city. Today, I'm telling you the people's representatives in KCC are at pains. They cannot access contracts between the technical people and the contractors, and yet we have in law the Public Accounts Committee. Every district has it, KCC has it. So what is its role? If you are denying all information, even if there are clauses of non-disclosure, you can have a subcommittee of PAC interacting.
So,
and
Doctor, you suspect it is politics that is actually letting our city rot away before our eyes?
Absolutely, because under the Musisi's time as the executive director, when this position was new, there was some goodwill from the central government.
True.
A lot of money was given to her, and we saw a number of changes taking place. A few years later, again, the opposition swept the city. What did we see? Massive funding cuts by the central government. Leaving KCCA, you cannot convince me that you have a state house, which is a residence of a president with over 200 billion, and a city of 3 million people has...
Is it around 400, 500?
Yes, exactly. So are you... so sometimes the way we do, I think certain things just lack logic, like Lee Kuan Yew used to take up in Singapore, that for a country to move forward, you need honest people, you need pragmatic decisions, people who should use logic, common sense in decision making, and then you should have the other third one was a meritocracy. Are you having the right people in the right place?
Offices.
But as it goes on today, I think we have a big gap.
Thank you so much, Dr. And Richard. You would expect that after the death of very many people, very many innocent Ugandans, something tangible would be done. But here we are. You've heard the Deputy Lord Mayor also lamenting. Yet, these are the managers of the city. These are the representatives of the people in this management of Kampala. Are we letting Kampala really rot before our eyes?
Okay, I will try to relate things and see if they make sense. The Ghanaians have a saying, a proverb, that you have to be extremely careful when you want to kill a fly that has perched on the scrotum.
Thank God you haven't said it in Runyankole.
Yeah. And then, so I relate that. You see, I was looking back to my work. One time, me, Peter Surikekisa, the late Canary Mutisha Charles, Charles Mutambuze, and Ronald Kayanja were working at Radio Uganda and UTV. And we proposed to the mayor, then Christopher Iga, and the town clerk was Mwesige.
Yeah.
That, no, it was, I think, Chove. It was not yet Mwesige. There was one before Mwesige. And we proposed that we should have a live show. They had KCC has an end of year. So we had just formed, people forget that the first FM station was actually a Radio Uganda FM station before the Capitals and Sanyu started. So we said, let's have it. And from that, they were very excited about being live on air and all their city residency, not gathering at Nile Hotel. It was Nile Hotel then Serena to celebrate. And then we said, let's do a documentary. And the most important issue for Kampala State Council, as it was called, was garbage. I am talking about 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so I agree with the deputy road mayor. There's nothing new about garbage in Kampala. I was 2015 when you were buying the studies that caused the purchase of the 2015 land were done 10 years earlier. The projections were very clear because the World Bank doesn't just walk in. The studies were very scientific. The projections were very clear. This is the growth of the city. If you look at the Entebbe Expressway, the MPG Expressway, and this remodeling of the clock tower, these things were done. The projections of the growth. That is why we were pushing for the Metropolitan Authority. Yes.
To include Mukono.
How do you take SETA out of the city for sewage? It's because the first thing we were talking about was sewage. One of the crises this city has is that you don't have an integrated sewage system. No, nothing. So we would have cholera. In fact, cholera was a very lucrative business for some people.
Business, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's a crisis. How can you call it a crisis? Yet you know every rainy season there is going to be cholera. But there is a emergency expenditure. So some of these things cannot be new. So there is a fly on the scrotum. So you have to be extremely careful
On whose scrotum?
how you deal with this fly. That I told you Apollo here. I said this thing of saying the problem in Chitezi will lead to the punishment of anybody is a pipe dream.
Nobody will
No
be held
one.
culpable.
I was here. You can bring the recording. No one.
So absurd.
No. Because this is not a problem that is new. You see, I have talked to some of the friends, some of them you know. For me, I do not accept there is something called unfunded priority. No. A priority is a priority. You cannot corrupt the meaning of the word priority. If it's a priority, it gets funded. If it's not funded, then it stops being a priority. It is very simple. So these things.
So in short, Kampala is not a priority. Most of the things
Let me
that
relate to
affect-
the next thing I was going to say. I said I want to relate. There was a list that was released the other day of new cities that should become operational. I don't know if you people read these things.
Yeah,
We do.
Sure.
One of them is called Nakasongora. So where did Nakasongora? Who is clamoring for Nakasongora? If you look at those cities, Nakasongora is a peculiar place.
Nakasongo, I can't imagine.
So I can tell you, the talk of Dar es Salaam Dodoma is coming. And you have to prepare the ground. You have to be disgusted enough with Kampala
Lagos,
that
Abuja.
every one of you will agree with the Nakasongora. So Apollo, I don't know what else do you want me to say.
Thank you so much. I think you made it simple for us to understand. And you agree that possibly this is a deliberate move to keep Kampala the way it is, and at the end, the people will appreciate a decision for an alternative city.
I just wanted to add on.
You can add on, and from what he said, do you think it's a good? It's a good way to. It's the right way to go.
To create in cities?
Yes, that's what he said.
Of
that
course,
possibly.
Of course, that can't be the right way. I have oftentimes talked about how really creating new cities is not for purposes of bringing services closer to the people. I come from Fort Portal, and Fort Portal is now a city.
It's now a city.
But they still get the budget they used to get when they were still a municipality. Now, when I was there, I was told, I think it was around, I was told it is around 17 billion. Now, dear viewers of Soul TV, In Kampala, constructing 1 kilometer of a road, our budgets indicate between 10 to 15 billion. But that is money that is being allocated to a city.
Imagine.
And probably for other cities that had not yet moved to the level of Fort Potro before it became a city, the situation could even be worse. There are those who are still getting 5 billion, there are those who are getting millions. So what exactly can that do? So the only thing that has changed is that we have got new mayors who are now also calling themselves Lord Mayors, some of them. We have got new councillors. This has never been about serving the people of Uganda. So we need to interrogate the politics behind the creation of these new cities. You have had Elder Baguma here telling us about Nakasongola. Nakasongola, you people. So this is just for purposes of politics. Apollo and the viewers, there's nothing beyond that. It is not about serving the people of Kampala. Even when these cities were being created, I remember Masaka was left out. And then there was noise,
It took the voice of
exactly.
Kabaka.
But why was Masaka left out? And then we see Hoima, which they call the oil city, Arua. Most people have never even seen the oil. The oil is even very far from the city. So there is politics, and for me, I think it's basically for serving the interests of the head of state. It's nothing beyond that. However, I just wanted to add on and talk about a few things, make a clarification about some of our strategies that we had proposed to Cabinet in a document that we submitted to the Office of the Prime Minister. We are concerned as leaders of Kampala that 1 month down the road, those that survived the Chitezi catastrophe are still living in tents. And the last we had, they were also about to encounter a cholera outbreak because they were using public toilets. Many of them are not used to using public toilets, so they were opting. Are they called mobile toilets? So many of them were opting, to use the ground. And we made a proposal to Cabinet. We said we have 135 acres of land in Dundu, where now the residents and the leaders are saying it cannot be an alternative dump site. Can we carve off at least 36 acres of land? Because we are told approximately that is the land that was affected the other side. And we resettle these people in Dundu. But we also emphasized, like I have said, 4.1 billion was being spent annually on Chitezi. This happened at the beginning of the new financial year. And the 4.1 billion was not yet spent. So we said, can this 4.1 billion also be used in the resettlement process? Now, unfortunately, all those things have really not been discussed. For me, I don't think this matter has been treated with the urgency it deserves. I don't know if Cabinet has even talked about it. We've not even seen the head of state going there. Even the speaker, who usually likes going and standing with those people, giving billions of money, we have not seen that happening. And it really leaves a lot to be desired.
Thank you so much, Doreen, Honorable Doreen Nyanjura, the Deputy Lord Mayor for Kampala Capital City. My name is Prince Apollo. You can join in the discussion, send in your comments and observations on 0701 609906. Send by WhatsApp, send by SMS. Don't send a voice note and don't call that line. Tell us what you think about this city that has been abandoned and, from what has been submitted, deliberately abandoned to rot away before our eyes. Quickly, as we wait for these comments, Dr. Gerard Were-Wanzala, looks like now the whole talk of smart city is a hollow. Is a hollow. It's just hollow. It's nothing.
In fact, actually, my colleagues are laughing, and I also don't hesitate to laugh because you cannot say you have failed to eat kaunga of 2,000 shillings a kilo, and then you are looking at consuming pizza of 40k and things like that. I think I'm not saying that issues of smart city should be ignored, but also let's first address the basics, because some of the basics have a direct bearing on the public health. Today, yes. Kampala has a garbage emergency. So if there is an outbreak of cholera, definitely you will see a committee and updates every day, and then billions of shillings will be accounted for. Imagine. So for me, I think we need to go to the drawing board. Now we are looking at what my colleagues have just talked about of creating cities. We operationalize many cities, and what we have achieved so far is that we had more women MPs in parliament. Yeah. We have had more constituencies within the city, and each of them consumes about an average of 400 million a year in terms of salary and allowances. So if you have created 30 administrative units, you know in billions how much money some more people are taking home, and majority are being ignored. Yes, there wouldn't be any problem to move the Nakasongola way, but is there a commitment to finance a new city? I have been reading lately about a city east of Cairo. President El Assisi said Cairo now has reached a certain point where they cannot expand anymore. So he decided to create another city. But do you know what it involves? Billions of dollars. You know, every year is investing, because you need housing, you need the road network, you need the waste management, and actually there is waste management which is ignored here in Kampala, e-waste, computers, fridges. It is the most dangerous because it has a relationship with cancer. You see what Tanzania is doing with Dodoma. You ensure that there is a rail network that even if someone slept in Dar es Salaam, can quickly go and work and then come back. Are we thinking about all this, or we're just giving cities like cakes? Like Moroto, which has 2,000, 1,000 residents sleeping in it. And you are saying, oh, now Moroto is a city. How about these cities like Mbale, Jinja, that have more people, and they don't have, they're also struggling with the same people we're crying about in Kampala. So I think we need to go to the drawing board and become relevant to the people that we are serving.
Thank you. Richard, your final comment on this matter. We are now, the whole city is a victim of politics and parasitic, governance.
Yeah, but for me, I'm not sure that the Kampala city is different from the several other things. No, I'm not sure that it is different from several other things. It's just that it's like a problem I was talking about, and I'm glad I heard the president also picked it several times. The one thing, Apollo, every time I go on any medium, I am trying to bring an example of UPE. You enroll 1.something million children at primary one. You have a few 100,000 getting out at P7. Where is the 1 million people going in between? And I keep saying, however much you massage around the wound, you must heal the wound. Otherwise, that wound will become cancerous and eat you. It is the same thing. You see, if you have 3.5, 4 million people gathering in a place every day, I think that's the population of Kampala by day. And they are squeezed. It's a strip. Kampala is a strip. It's like the Gaza Strip. Kampala is just a strip. Look at its map. This strip will become explosive for you. It becomes extremely expensive to keep in check. So why don't we deal with it? Why? What is? The other thing is garbage is an extremely lucrative business. Extremely lucrative. True. It doesn't matter which city you are, in the developed or the developing world. In New York, you'll have mafia families controlling garbage in the different boroughs of the city. It's in London. This is what happens. So even here, until you have the people they call mafia, wherever they are, taking a cake of the garbage, we shall remain in the quagmire.
Thank you, Richard. Let me read out these comments as we move on. Morning, Apollo. I am Annette, Arsenal Blood in Kamuli. When Lukwago and Nyanjula are still in KCCA, nothing good will ever be done in Kampala. Mark my words.
Are they?
No, I think, I presume, she's talking about the fight, the infighting, the political fights, possibly. I don't know. And you alluded to it, that it is politics that actually is eating up Kampala. Good morning, Apple on the panel. I entirely agree with Dr. Wanzala that if the city is still in the control of the opposition, do not expect anything better, but only politics to play. So to me, it's not shocking, but expected.
Our city is not in the
So my
opposition
simple
any
advice,
better.
wait a minute. So my simple advice to Madam Nyanjula is that they should put aside their political differences so that they can work for the people of Kampala. Otherwise, we shall keep seeing politicking, not service delivery. I am Abel Keru, Abel Kampumuza Keru. Thank you so much. That is exactly what I related to the other message that came in first. People think that possibly you, Honorable Nyanjula and team, you are always in a battle, and that is why things have gone wrong. You read this message again. He says, Mr. Polon, kulamusiza nnyo. Okay. Yeah, message njirabye. Thank you so much. Okay. Ronald is in Mbarara. Ronald Tayebwa is in Mbarara. He says he's watching. Thank you so much, Ronald. My old friend is watching. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning, Apollo and the panelists. The problem of Kampala is bigger than KCCA. Another issue is clearly politics at play, because the president has come out clearly saying that Kampala people voted unwisely. So it's a punishment for Kampalanians. And this is very wrong. NRM was given the mandate to run the affairs of the entire country, not choosing to deliver only where you were voted. That's kiddish thinking. Like I've always said, Uganda will be delivered only by God's grace, not these politicians. This must be Major Otim Joel. Thank you so much, Major Otim Joel. We must wind up on this issue, but some messages are coming in. I am Amson from Chegegwa. I cannot get surprised when we hear that Chitezi survivors are still in tents, because if they remain in tents, it's not harmful to government in power. He's saying
It's actually harmful.
as long as something does not affect or does not threaten power, even if it's painful, it must go on. That is what I read from that message. Thank you so much, Amson from Chegegwa. We will be going for a short break. When we return, we can move on and look at another important issue that came up in Parliament. But in just 1-2 minutes, Honorable Nyanjula,
Yes.
make your parting short
Well,
to our viewers on this issue, and we conclude it.
thank you so much. I've listened to the concerns raised by
Especially the comments that came in.
by the viewers, and they were saying it's because the people of Kampala voted unwisely, or they voted
It's a
for the
punishment
opposition.
now.
And I want to pose a question. I come from Toro. You can go and check the percentage that Museveni gets from those areas. Go and look at Chenjojo, go and look at Chegegwa, go and look at even all other areas that where Museveni wins. Are those places any better?
Oh no.
Are they any better? So probably whoever asked that question can answer himself. And yes, Chitezi is not a threat to the sitting government, and therefore these people are not being treated as a priority. Where they are, some technocrats have already warned that even the remaining part of Chitezi is already developing cracks. And we addressed our press conference and warned. So if another catastrophe hits, are we also going to say that this is an emergency? Are we also going to say that this was not foreseen? Even where the people are staying currently, where they're being housed in tents, Lichet has already started flowing.
Oh, that's a
I'm talking about Lichet.
that's a
I'm
health
telling you, these
hazard.
people are not comfortable using mobile toilets. So you can imagine the situation that is going on out there. So for me, I've seen Ugandans coming out on social media, doing exhibitions and all that. And where they were exhibiting and saying garbage is here, at least I was trying to follow up, would go and collect that garbage. But that is not sustainable. We always say Kampala is the cash cow of this country, which contributes over 60%
of revenue
to the GDP. But we only get back 1%. How do you expect us to develop the capital city?
Okay, our time is running out, but Doreen, Honorable Doreen, I don't know. Now, like Major Tim's Joel said, other people think you should possibly be, you should be, I mean, working together with the government. Possibly things would be better if you're able to work with the government.
For me, that is just an excuse because our roles are clearly laid out in the act.
I've been told we have to go for a short break.
We play an oversight role.
Top of the hour.
It's eyes on, hands off. So really, the people responsible for this mess are there and they're
Thank you so much, our viewers. Let's go for a short break. When we return, we'll be looking at the 80 years of President Museveni. Birthday Thanksgiving ceremony was held in Nakaseke district. But matters came to Parliament, and the critics of President Museveni were saying at 80 he may not be fit to continue leading this country. So they were actually proposing mental and physical fitness tests regularly, periodic. But this was dismissed and they were shut down on order in Parliament. What does that mean? Is it a matter that we should be really concerned about or not? Let's go for a break. We'll return. The dialogue will be returning after this short while. Don't go away.